What's up, y'all? Or good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon for those of you on the other side of the world. Um, Fight night, fight week is here, and obviously we got the big one coming later on this Saturday. But this is the one that I really want to talk about happening in a couple hours. Matter of fact, right now I'm just about to exercise for at least another 3 or 4 hours, and the fight that we've been waiting for at the lower weight classes, Stephen Fulton versus Naoya Inoue. And this fight was postponed a couple months ago. I forgot what the reason was. It could be off of injury, or I completely forgot because I don't know, man. But I just want to focus on the fight itself. So, yeah, let's break down the fight, give you guys my prediction. And I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because obviously the fight is coming on in a couple hours, the undercard at least at 4 a.m. Central Time in Texas. So that could be like 5 Eastern, around there. And yeah, definitely a tough fight. And it took a while for me to actually make a prediction and pick on this one because I've been going back and forth with myself on like the whole variables of Stephen Fulton going to Japan, but at the same time I've also been thinking about the skill sets between both fighters, and I understand that Naoya hasn't faced like a real mover like Stephen Fulton, but I've been looking at both of their limitations and I've already made my pick. And after hearing what other boxing pundits that I actually respect and actually listen to had to say about the fight, and it's kind of more in the line of what I was originally thinking, but whenever I listen to social media and whenever I listen to like all these other platforms on an actual fight, it kind of distorts my initial thought process on who to pick, you know what I mean? So that plays a lot into it, as long as you find like a perfect circle for yourself where everyone is level-headed and everything like that, you can actually make an actual pick and feel confident about it, and I actually feel confident about this prediction now, and I'm going to give you guys the breakdown of it. And Stephen Fulton, let's talk about Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton, he's a good boxer, he has very good skill set, but at the same time he also has limitations. Obviously we could point to the Brandon Figueroa fight and the pressure that Brandon Figueroa was actually putting on him. And I noticed that it was like a very sloppy kind of pressure, and Stephen Fulton was getting baited into it a lot in that whole fight, you know what I mean? And Stephen Fulton tends to fight on the outside, but he gets dragged into all these exchanges, and that's a big problem, when you're going up against Naoya Inoue, especially when Stephen Fulton's trainers just yelling into his head or yelling into his ear not to fight off the ropes or anything like that, and to keep it at the center of the ring. And Stephen Fulton definitely can utilize movement to actually deter some of Naoya's ability to cut the ring. He can make it to where he's able to move so laterally, but I don't think he can, man, because there's going to be a lot to consider, from Naoya. And I'll get to that right now, obviously, with Naoya, because there's a very important aspect of that I want to talk about. But Stephen Fulton can definitely utilize that movement against Naoya and has to make sure that he doesn't close the gap on him. And that's the thing that I was thinking about the whole time, where can Naoya close the gap on Stephen Fulton? It's very possible, man, very possible. But at the same time, Stephen Fulton, as long as he doesn't stay on the inside, man, that's really all there is to it, man, that he doesn't stay on the inside and keeps it at the center of the ring or fights on the outside, behind the jab, baits Naoya for some left hooks, then he could definitely keep this fight in the bag, because Naoya's defense obviously has some holes in it, and there's some stuff that could be exploited, like how it was in the Donaire fight, in the first Donaire fight, because obviously the second fight was a knockout, but in the first fight with Donaire, I actually predicted that it would actually go 12 rounds when everybody was saying that it was going to be a knockout. But I never thought that Naoya would struggle against Donaire. So um, Stephen Fulton definitely has that in his arsenal, the movement that Naoya hasn't seen before in any of his fights, in terms of moving on the back foot and being as slick as Stephen Fulton is. But obviously, mentally, I could see Stephen Fulton getting into an exchange with Naoya at some point, whether it be later on in the fight or in the mid portion of the fight. And another thing is the body shots, man. Like, we got to talk about that right now with Naoya Inoue. If Stephen Fulton can avoid some of those body shots, by staying on the outside, then he could definitely coast some of those rounds, So definitely there's some advantages for Stephen Fulton. But as for Naoya, man, Naoya is a very good boxer that nobody really well, I shouldn't say nobody. Not too many really give credit for his skill set, but at the same time, they're more so focused on his power. But I understand that, like obviously the power is standing out, and that whole situation that's happening right now in Japan from Stephen Fulton's team. But aside from that, man, like all the variables outside from that, I could see Naoya giving Stephen Fulton problems with other aspects of his skill. Like behind the jab that he actually has. Personally, I think he has one of the best jabs in boxing, man. I have to say it. Like even though I don't rate him as pound for pound number one, don't get it twisted. I don't rate him as like this pound for pound number one guy above guys like the winner of Crawford Spence or anything like that, or Canelo or anything like that. But I gotta say, man, this guy has a very good skill set. He could throw good body punches, work behind the jab. Offensively, I think he's probably one of the best fighters right now in terms of style. Well, besides Errol Spence, obviously. But I think Naoya can definitely exploit that weakness of Fulton, whenever Fulton has his back to the ropes. And that's the biggest issue that I have with Stephen Fulton, where if he backs up to the ropes, then he's in a whole world of trouble, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, even if Naoya doesn't close the gap on him, like in the center of the ring, if he backs him up to the ropes, it could be a wrap, man. I'm not going to lie to you. So, definitely going to see what happens tonight with that. But the key factors for both of these guys overall, Stephen Fulton's jab, Stephen Fulton's movement off the back foot, and him staying at the center of the ring. Or matter of fact, just listen to your trainer, man. Listen to what he has to say, man, and stick to the game plan. And as for Naoya really has to apply the body shots to Stephen Fulton. Needs to neutralize all of that movement, jab with him. And I think he needs to land some left hooks in some of those exchanges, man, where Stephen Fulton is exchanging with him on the inside. So, this was a tough pick for me because at first I was picking Stephen Fulton, but watching those previous fights, man, I have to edge Naoya, and possibly by decision. And I think he might be able to land a knockdown in some part of the fight, but Stephen Fulton, man, like I was originally going to pick him, and I thought that he was going to win 9-4 or 9-3, 8-4, but I thought about it, and yeah, I'm just picking Naoya just because of the pressure that he brings and the mentality of Stephen Fulton getting into those exchanges with Brandon Figueroa. Like, I can't erase that from my memory, no matter how much you try to tell me about Stephen Fulton's defense. And Naoya has some pretty questionable defense, but at the same time, Stephen Fulton, I don't think he gets I don't think he'll get the respect that Inoue got from Donaire, in terms of the power. I mean, obviously, and the punch accuracy and the punch placement. But I'm picking Naoya. in this fight. So either way, is like I gotta respect both of these guys. You know, especially Stephen Fulton coming all the way to Japan. I think everybody universally actually respects Stephen Fulton for taking the challenge. You know, and betting on himself coming over to Japan, and I'd be excited to definitely see Stephen Fulton win this fight, you know, because that'll be good. But at the same time, I don't want to be wrong with my prediction. So, so either ways, I think Naoya is gonna win a decision, probably like 7-5, 8-4 around there, with maybe a knockdown in between from him. But the reason I don't say a knockout is because this is his first fight at the weight class at 122 pounds, and Stephen Fulton's a pretty big guy, so I think he's gonna be able to dish it out. And I think even though I said that mentally he gets dragged into those fights on the inside, that doesn't mean that he's not gonna. That doesn't mean that he's gonna quit or anything like that. I just think that Stephen Fulton is gonna stick in there or hang around in there. You know what I mean? Uh, Display his will and not to get knocked out by Naoya. So I'm definitely picking Naoya by decision. Let me know what y'all think. Who do you got in this fight? Are y'all picking Fulton? Are y'all picking Inoue? And yeah, man, just let me know what y'all think. I personally thought beside the big fight this coming weekend, this was one of the hardest predictions that I ever made, man, because I almost picked Stephen Fulton by decision. So either ways, I'm a little confident, a little bit more now with Inoue winning, because I don't know how Stephen Fulton is going to be able to take in like all this stuff that's happening around in Japan and all that. You know what I mean? Like his situation over there. So I have to lean towards Naoya just because of that, man. And his tendencies to fight on the inside. You get what I'm saying? So either ways, let me know what y'all think. It's going to be a great fight. Only a couple hours away on the same weekend as Spence Crawford. So yeah, man. Did y'all make any last minute changes? Just let me know what y'all think, and I'm out. Peace.